Let me start with a truth that will cut deep. The rich are not playing the same game as you. You think money is earned by waking up early, clocking in, following instructions, collecting a paycheck, and hoping one day someone rewards your loyalty. You think the harder you work, the more you're supposed to earn. That's the script they handed you. That's the conditioning. And you believed it because they gave it to you young when you didn't know any better. You were taught to be obedient long before you were taught to be wealthy. The rich were never trained like this. They were raised to understand that money has mechanics. Money has movement. Money has rules. There's a secret language to wealth, and the rich learned to speak it early. While you were learning to sit still, raise your hand, and wait for permission, their children were learning how to make decisions, take ownership, and build empires. They play a game where money is a tool, while you treat it like a trophy you only get to hold after you've exhausted yourself. Think about it. Everything you were told about money came from someone who isn't rich. Teachers, managers, people stuck in the same race you're stuck in. And yet you trusted them. You trusted a system that benefits from your ignorance. They told you to get good grades so you could get a good job, so you could depend on a good company. That's not a wealth strategy. That's a dependency strategy. They need millions of people to think that way. So the game continues, so the machine keeps running. Meanwhile, the rich are laughing because they already know the truth. Wealth is not about working for money. It's about making money work for you. But nobody taught you that. They told you saving money was smart. And yes, saving sounds responsible. But let me tell you what saving money really is. Saving money is a low-class strategy. Inflation eats your savings every year. Prices rise. Opportunity costs multiply. While you try to stack pennies, the rich are stacking assets. They're buying real estate, companies, investments, attention, influence. They're multiplying what they have while you protect what you have. They grow, you delay. The entire education system is designed to teach you how to participate, not how to dominate. They want you safe. They want you predictable. They want you to follow instructions because compliant workers are useful. Independent thinkers are dangerous. You were not educated, you were programmed. Programmed to believe the rich are greedy. Programmed to believe money is scarce. Programmed to believe success is luck. And that mindset alone keeps you locked in a cage you can't see. Ask yourself this: if the system truly wanted you to be wealthy, why don't they teach you how money actually works? Why don't they teach taxes, investments, leverage, cash flow, sales, negotiation, entrepreneurship? Why do they teach you geometry formulas you'll never use instead of the financial principles that decide whether you struggle or succeed? I'll tell you why. Because if everyone became financially intelligent, the people in power would lose control. They need workers. They need dreamers who never act. They need consumers who spend everything they earn on dopamine and cheap entertainment. They need you tired. They need you distracted. They need you too busy worrying about bills to realize you're being robbed of your potential. But the rich, they already know all this. They know money isn't slow. Money moves fast. They know wealth isn't fair. It's tilted toward those who see the angles early. They know they must teach their children to own, to risk, to build, while your system teaches you to fear everything outside your comfort zone. The rich teach generational advantage. You were handed generational limitation. Understand something right now. Money is not moral. Money does not care who deserves it. Money flows to those who understand the rules, create value, control systems, own assets, scale leverage, protect wealth. Repeat, the game is not hidden. It's just never shown to you on purpose. And you will remain late to the truth of wealth until you accept that everything you were taught about money was designed to keep you from getting too much of it. Most people believe hard work is the key to wealth. They cling to it like a lifeboat in the middle of the ocean. They're convinced that if they just grind harder than everyone else, success will eventually come knocking. But look around you. Some of the hardest working people in the world are broke. Construction workers under the sun, factory workers sweating for hours, delivery men working through the night. They give their time, their energy, their physical strength, and yet their bank account never reflects their effort. Why? Because the economy doesn't reward effort. It rewards leverage. It rewards scale. It rewards those who understand how to make one decision that earns them more than 10,000 hours of labor ever could. Your time is limited. You have 24 hours like everyone else. If your income is tied to those hours, you are automatically capped. That's the trap most people never escape: trading time for money. The rich discovered something different. They trade money for time. They trade systems for freedom. They trade leverage for power. While you're working harder, they're working smarter. While you're pushing your body to the limit, they're building machines that print money while they sleep. Think about your job. The harder you work, the more money your boss makes. You get a small reward, maybe a raise once in a while. But the real profit goes to the people leveraging your time. They scale through the labor of others. Meanwhile, you scale nothing. You only survive. And that's not because you're lazy. It's because the system is designed that way. You were taught to chase a paycheck executed through effort instead of a system that brings income regardless of effort. Leverage is the skill of multiplying your efforts through tools, systems, people, capital, or technology. If 1 hour of your time doesn't produce results while you sleep, then you are not building wealth. You are just renting your life to someone else. Wealthy people use leverage like oxygen. They invest in skills that can scale. They create value once and sell it 1,000,000 times. They build networks that produce deals. They build brands that produce influence. They build assets that produce cash flow. They make decisions that pay them for decades. The poor think money comes from pain. The rich think money comes from strategy. That is the difference. Somebody working at a desk might make 50 decisions a day and get paid a fixed salary. Somebody else might make one decision in a meeting and add $1,000,000 to their net worth. Same time. Different leverage. That's the game you were never shown. Your parents told you education is the path to success. But the truth is, the right knowledge is the path to leverage. School gives you information and a certificate. But nobody gets rich from certificates. People get rich from leverage, from learning skills that the marketplace values at scale, from doing things that cannot be replaced easily, from knowing how to turn every action into exponential output. Look at millionaires who built wealth quickly. They didn't grind longer hours than you. They found leverage. They tapped into the digital world where your audience isn't 10 customers, it's 10 million. They sell knowledge instead of hours. They invest in business instead of job security. They build instead of wait. They owned instead of rent. They understand that real money isn't earned, it's multiplied. If you want to escape the cage of the paycheck, you must stop thinking like a laborer and start thinking like a leader. You must stop asking, how much does this cost? And start asking, how much does this return? You must stop selling your time and start building something that outlives your day. The rich separate themselves because they build leverage before they need it. Meanwhile, most people only search for leverage when they're already drowning, already exhausted, already old, and that's why the gap keeps growing. Wealth accelerates. Poverty stagnates because leverage doesn't care about fairness. It cares about who learns the rules. You can grind your entire life and still lose because the game stopped rewarding effort a long time ago. Look closely at the people around you. Listen to how they speak. Watch what they chase. Notice what they complain about every single day, because whether you realize it or not, they are programming you. You absorb their beliefs. You mirror their habits. You become what they are. And here's the harsh reality. Most people live in environments where success is mocked and mediocrity is celebrated. They are surrounded by people who tell them to be realistic, who laugh at big goals, who treat wealth like a fantasy and poverty like a normal destiny. And because you spend every day in that environment, you accept that reality as your own. Your environment is your financial destiny. If you spend your time with people who are broke, who have no ambition, who are satisfied with being average, then average is the ceiling of your life. Their expectations become your limitations. Their fears become your excuses. Their small thinking infects your potential before you even begin. You can't expect to learn how to build a skyscraper from someone who's never built a single brick. You can't expect to become a millionaire when everyone around you is terrified of even trying. Meanwhile, wealthy people do something different. They choose environments where success is the standard, not the exception. They surround themselves with killers, winners, hustlers, people who move fast and think big. They keep company with those who force them to level up. They enter rooms where if you're not making six figures, you feel poor. They network with people who are constantly pushing boundaries and building futures. They seek mentors who expose them to realities the average person never gets to see. The rich understand that mindset is contagious. So is poverty. Your surroundings either elevate you or suffocate you. And most people suffocate at the hands of their own circle. They hang out with people who spend every penny they earn, then borrow more. They gossip about others instead of improving themselves. They chase dopamine instead of opportunity. They drown in distraction. They live for weekends. They trade growth for comfort because comfort feels safe. But comfort kills ambition. Comfort kills hunger. Comfort kills wealth. The rich already know something you're just discovering. You cannot rise while staying in places designed to keep you down. You must upgrade your environment if you want to upgrade your life. That means distancing yourself from anyone who pulls you backward. That means walking away from friendships that only exist in dead-end conversations. That means leaving places where dreams go to die. You don't have to hate those people. You just have to understand they can't come with you. When you finally decide to elevate your environment, everything changes. Your language changes. Your goals change. Your habits change. You begin to question the limitations you always accepted. You stop worrying about looking arrogant and start worrying about staying broke. You stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for someone to save you. You start saving yourself because you see proof every day that success is not special, it's normal. You witness people turning nothing into something, and you realize you can do it too. Look at every millionaire story. Behind every transformation, there's a moment where they left the wrong environment and entered the right one. They found mentors. They found opportunity. They found a new identity. They realized the cage door was open the entire time. They just needed to step through it. Meanwhile, millions stay trapped simply because they refuse to leave the comfort of familiarity. Your environment shapes your ambition. Your environment shapes your self-belief. Your environment shapes your financial standards. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your surroundings. And if everyone around you is drowning, it's only a matter of time before you sink with them. Money reveals who you are. When most people get paid, the first thing they think about is spending. New shoes, new phone, nights out, status symbols that make them look wealthier than they really are. They earn and immediately hand their money back to the world for temporary pleasure. This is why they stay poor. Because the poor see money as something to enjoy now. The rich see money as something to grow for the future. Same paycheck, same currency. Completely different mindset. The poor chase comfort. The rich chase opportunity. When money enters the hands of the poor, it dies. When money enters the hands of the rich, it reproduces. That is the difference. Wealthy people understand a simple truth: money must serve you. You must put it to work. Every dollar should have a job. Every dollar should return with more dollars. You must plant seeds, not burn fuel. But most people are financially illiterate. They think money is to be spent, not multiplied. They think saving is smart, but saving alone is slow death. Bank accounts give you false security while inflation eats your purchasing power alive. Meanwhile, the rich aren't saving, they are acquiring assets, systems, real estate, businesses, investments, skills that generate income. They put their money in places where it grows without them touching it. They build cash flow streams that pay them forever. They buy their freedom. And the irony is, the rich appear lazy because their money works harder than they do. The poor appear hardworking because their money never works at all. Think of every purchase you make. Is it making you richer or poorer? That question alone separates the wealthy from the broke. A poor person buys something that loses value the moment they own it. A rich person buys something that produces value long after they own it. Poor people buy liabilities and call them rewards. Rich people buy assets and call them tools. Poor people see money disappear. Rich people see money multiply. The poor believe wealth happens someday. Someday when they get a raise. Someday when they win the lottery. Someday when luck finally arrives. They wait for money like it's a gift. The rich understand money is built, brick by brick, decision by decision. The biggest financial mistake most people make isn't one big purchase. It's thousands of tiny ones that never stop. Streaming subscriptions, fast food, impulse shopping, the dopamine drip that keeps them comfortable enough to avoid change. One day they look at their life and realize they wasted decades feeding a lifestyle that gave them nothing in return. Poor people use money to impress others. Rich people use money to free themselves from others. You have millions of people living above their means because they want to appear successful instead of becoming successful. They upgrade their life before they upgrade their income. They pretend they're wealthy for strangers who don't care. They trade future potential for present validation. That is the most common financial suicide in the world. On the other side, wealthy individuals sacrifice comfort to build leverage. They delay gratification. They reduce their expenses. They reinvest everything back into leveling up. They know the game temporary discipline leads to permanent freedom. The poor say, "I deserve this." The rich say, "I will earn what I deserve." And that mindset opens the doors the poor never see. You must train yourself to think like an investor, not a consumer. Every time money touches your hand, ask yourself, will this help me escape the system or trap me deeper inside it? Will this expand my income or shrink it? Will this make me a slave to debt or a master of assets? Because money doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't care about how hard you work to earn it. It doesn't care how badly you want to be rich. Money obeys those who control its direction. Understand this, you are either playing offense or you are being played. The poor remain poor not because they are cursed, but because they behave like poor people. The rich remain rich not because they are chosen, but because they act like rich people long before they become rich. Money does not transform you. It exposes the habits you already have. Most people are terrified of losing, terrified of looking stupid, terrified of failing, terrified of stepping outside the tiny comfort zone they've built for themselves. And that fear right there is the greatest tax the poor pay. Not a financial tax, a psychological one. Fear takes more from you than the government ever will. You think playing it safe keeps you protected. In reality, it keeps you trapped because safety doesn't lead to success, risk does. Look at every person who has ever built real wealth, every entrepreneur, every investor, every titan of industry. They all have one thing in common: they took risks. They stepped into uncertainty. They gambled on themselves. They pushed when others hesitated. They moved when others waited. They said yes to opportunity even when they were terrified. And that decision, that moment, is why they live a life most people only daydream about. Meanwhile, the average person is addicted to guarantees. They want certainty before they act. They want a promise of success before they even try. They want the reward without any threat of risk. That mindset is the reason they spend their entire life working for someone else who was willing to take the risk they refused. The wealthy speak the language of risk because they understand something you were never taught. The bigger the challenge, the bigger the return. The bigger the leap, the bigger the freedom. On the other side, fear convinces you to settle. Fear convinces you to stay in the same job. Fear convinces you to avoid opportunity. Fear convinces you that change is dangerous. And the cruel part is this: fear feels comfortable. It feels responsible. It feels smart. But fear has one mission: keep you small, keep you dependent, keep you ordinary. Meanwhile, risk forces you to grow. Risk forces you to evolve. Risk forces you to become the person capable of winning. Most people don't fail because they tried. They fail because they never tried at all. They think failure is embarrassing. But the real embarrassment is living a life that never tested your limits. You're scared of losing money, but you should be terrified of losing time. You can make money back. You can rebuild wealth. You can restart a business. But once a year of your life is gone, it never returns. The poor trade life for safety and call it responsibility. The rich trade safety for life and call it progress. You were raised to believe security is the goal. Stable job, stable income, stable future. But let me tell you what stability really is: stagnation. A cage disguised as comfort, a slow death that feels peaceful while it destroys every piece of ambition you once had. You cannot build wealth from inside a comfort zone. Comfort zones are where dreams go to rot. Risk is not reckless. Risk is calculated courage. The wealthy don't gamble blindly. They learn. They adapt. They take informed action. They study opportunities and then jump while everyone else is still debating. They trust themselves more than they trust their fear. They know uncertainty is where wealth lies. They know playing small guarantees a small life. Think about the moments that changed society. Innovation didn't come from risk avoidance. Breakthroughs didn't come from safety. Progress has always belonged to the bold. Every winner you admire faced the same fear you feel. They just refused to let it control them. They chose risk because they knew the alternative was regret, and regret is the most painful debt you can owe. After years of choosing comfort, people look back and realize they wasted their potential. They realize how many opportunities passed them by. They realize how many times they silenced the voice inside, pushing them to take a shot. And that realization crushes them more than any failure ever could. You must decide who you want to be: the person who avoids risk and lives small, or the person who embraces risk and lives large. Wealth doesn't wait for permission. Success doesn't show up for the timid. Opportunities don't knock for the scared. They appear to those who move, who believe, who dare to act without guarantees. Fear speaks the language of poverty. Risk speaks the language of wealth. Everyone loves the idea of success. Everyone wants the lifestyle, the admiration, the rewards. But very few are willing to do what actually creates success. People wait for motivation like it's some magical spark that will suddenly transform their life. They think one morning they'll wake up and feel unstoppable, ready to take action, ready to reinvent themselves. But that day never comes, because motivation is a liar. It's emotional. It's temporary. It disappears when things get uncomfortable. And the second life challenges you, motivation vanishes. Discipline is different. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline doesn't need excitement or inspiration. Discipline is the voice that says, get up, when your body says, stay down. It's the force that pulls you forward when everything around you tries to hold you back. Discipline is the bridge between the life you have and the life you want. Without discipline, your dreams are nothing more than fantasies floating in your imagination. Every champion, every leader, every high performer you admire, they're not special because they're always motivated. They're special because they built the habit of showing up day after day, especially when they didn't want to. Motivation might get you started once in a while, but discipline is what keeps you going every single day. It doesn't reward comfort. It rewards consistency. Right now, someone out there wants what you want. They want success. They want progression. They want freedom. The difference is, while you get tired, they get focused. While you make excuses, they make improvements. While you wait for motivation, they use discipline. And one day, you will see them winning the life you dreamed of, not because they were more gifted, but because they were more committed. Discipline is a promise you make to yourself, a contract of action. I will do what needs to be done, whether I feel like it or not. And if you keep that promise long enough, you start to transform. You start to build mental strength. You start to trust yourself. You become someone who doesn't rely on feelings to dictate your future. You become someone capable of greatness. People want shortcuts. They look for hacks. They chase trends and secrets, hoping there's an easier path. But the truth is simple and unavoidable: success will always require work. Work when you're tired. Work when you're bored. Work when you're stressed. Work when no one is cheering. Work when quitting seems like the better option. Discipline demands that you keep pushing when everyone else slows down. Every morning you wake up, life hands you two options: stay the same or become better. One choice leads to comfort, the other leads to change. Discipline chooses change. Discipline chooses growth. Discipline chooses the harder road, because that's where the rewards are. Think of the life you dream of. The confidence, the power, the respect, the fulfillment, it's all waiting for you, but it has a price. Not money, not luck, not timing. The price is discipline. The price is showing up. The price is sacrifice. You want a stronger body? Discipline. You want a sharper mind? Discipline. You want financial freedom? Discipline. You want a life where you're proud of the person you are? Discipline. Motivation is loud but unreliable. Discipline is quiet but unstoppable. Motivation makes promises. Discipline delivers results. Motivation is based on emotion. Discipline is built on choice. And every single day you have the chance to choose. Choose to get up. Choose to train. Choose to learn. Choose to improve. Choose to fight for the future you believe you deserve. Don't wait until you feel ready. You'll never feel ready. Start now. Do the work anyway. Because once discipline becomes your default setting, your life changes. The world opens up, opportunities appear, strength builds, confidence rises. And suddenly the things that once felt impossible become your new standard. Everything the rich know, Everything the elite understand, everything that separates the successful from the forgotten, it all comes down to one truth: wealth isn't accidental. Freedom isn't accidental. Power isn't accidental. They are built. Built through discipline. Built by those who refuse to accept average. Built by those who wake up every day and choose progress over comfort. You've now seen the game for what it is. You've learned what the rich already knew long before you got here. You've learned that money follows value. You've learned that your network determines your opportunities. You've learned that time is more valuable than anything you can own. And you've learned that your future will rise or fall based on the strength of your mind and the discipline you apply. The question now is simple. What will you do with this knowledge? Most will ignore it. Most will stay stuck in the same routines, the same excuses, the same quiet desperation. They will keep blaming luck, blaming the system, blaming everyone except themselves. They will stay behind, watching others succeed while they wonder why life never changes. But a few, the rare few, will act. They will take this message and turn it into fuel. They will break their laziness, break their fear, break their limits. They will choose to become producers, not consumers. Builders, not dreamers. They will understand that money is a byproduct of strength, discipline, and value, and they will start creating all three. You stand right now at the entrance of a new path. The old road leads to regret, dependency, survival. The new road leads to control, dominance, wealth. Every decision you make, every habit you build, every sacrifice you commit to shapes which direction you go. You are late, but you are not finished. You are behind, but you are not defeated. You now know the truth. You now see the world the way the wealthy already do. And once your mind expands to this understanding, it can never shrink back to weakness. This is your advantage. This is your chance. This is your moment. So stand up. Decide who you're going to be. And then prove it with every action you take. Because the difference between the rich and everyone else isn't fate, it's choice. Make the choice to rise. Make the choice to build. Make the choice to claim the life waiting for you on the other side of discipline, value, and relentless pursuit of power. The rich already knew. Now you do too.